And we're back. This episode, I want to discuss with you guys winter through hiking on the Appalachian Trail. Now, last weekend I ended up camping with the Tuflon who's hiking it now. And I'm seeing this guy, Will, in the wilderness. I've been watching some of his videos. And you hear them commenting a lot about being isolated and being alone. Well, they're isolated and being alone because they're out there hiking in the winter. Now, you can do that, but you understand that you can't cover the ground that you normally would be able to cover in the in the summer months, in spring, even in spring and in the fall. Snow is going to slow your pace. Number one, every time you get up in the morning, you're going to be miserable. Number two, you're carrying way too much gear, or you're carrying a lot more gear than you normally would otherwise, because you want to be warm, but you don't want to be miserable, especially you don't want to be miserable camping at the shelter or wherever your campsite's at. And you hear in their voice the isolation, wanting somebody to talk to, not being around people. I mean, when you're out there hiking, even when you're starting in April on the AT, you're still running into people, you're talking to people, you're bailing other people out, and bouncing gear and other stuff off others. Because when you're hiking the Appalachian Trail or any of these long distance trails, you're engaged with people at different levels of hiking. Most people you see on the AT especially have only been on the trail or have maybe a weekend hiking experience, or a series of day hikes. I mean, I probably spent the night in the woods about 10 times in my entire life before I hiked the Appalachian Trail. And you see all these people who are out here doing it for the first time. Granted, my gear was a little older when I was hiking. I had to change it by the time I made it to the Smokies. Got into Knoxville, changed up some stuff, and made the experience a lot more enjoyable. But you see these guys, they're alone. I mean, you're talking anywhere from 5 to 12 miles a day is what they're hiking, and it's real hard to cover a lot of ground. I mean, they're getting places. Like Tuflon got into NOC, I guess the other day. And you got Will in the Wilderness, who's in the middle of the Smokies. I just watched a video where he was trying to get into Gatlinburg, and the road was closed. Which, that's how I ended up running into Tuflon the other day, was when I was going to set up my camping arrangement. I was concerned about the road being closed. That's the reason why I ended up going to Elkmont and hiking up north, and ended up getting hurt or tweaked something. But I think that's more or less just a cramp, because by the time I got out of the Smokies and to a convenience store, and pain was gone. But I mean, I hadn't really done any hiking. What's going on there? Anyway, I hadn't done any real hiking with a heavy pack in a while. So, that was kind of interesting. But my point is, when you're winter camping, winter hiking, or through hiking, anything, there's a problem you run into. It's the isolation factor. It's all in your head, of course, because, I mean, in most instances, you're going to stay warm because you're bringing enough gear. And if you don't bring enough gear, you're going to get off trail to make sure you do have enough gear. And it's... there's a lot of people on the trail where after being on the trail, you become a machine. You get to where you've reached a point where it's not the physical toll, it's the mental. Spring, summer, it's the grind day in, day out that gets you. What's going on at home? That's always going to play a part. Some of these people who get out there, they, your mind plays tricks on you. And being isolated on the trail for an extended period of time isn't good for anybody. It's kind of like I have a theory about Eric Robert Rudolph. You know, I think he allowed himself to be caught. When you're isolated for so long, it's almost a relief when you get around people again. It can be too much, but it can also be, I just don't want to live like this anymore. You know, you watch a TV show like Alone, right? These guys, they get out there on the island, and they've been on there for, 50, 60 days, and they're just like, I just can't do this anymore. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm miserable. I'm hungry. I can live a better life, better quality of life. Some of them, all I had to do was just wait a few more days, and they would have won. But bottom line is, we are social beings, and when you're a social being, you need to interact with people. Even introverts, like Tuflon, there's a desire to interact with people. He was wanting companionship. And we all do. So that's kind of my thing. And, that's the reason why winter hiking on the AT is so difficult. Because mentally, it is taxing. Because the weather plays such a key role in contentment, for lack of a better word. When you're in the spring and you're getting rained on for 3 days straight, it sucks. It's 40 degrees and it's cold. But when you get to the shelter, or when you get to hostel, you can at least interact with people, lift your spirits. Maybe somebody takes you to McDonald's, or you get a pizza, or whatever. Maybe get a shower, get out of your wet clothes, do some laundry, maybe you feel like a human again. In the wintertime, you can do the same stuff, of course, but there's not the people on there, so you're not really having anybody to talk to, which makes it almost a grind. It makes it more of a grind, because tomorrow you get to do the same thing over again, and that's not what you want to do. So best of luck to these guys. I just, keep moving north, because that's the only thing you can do. The only thing to look forward to is moving to the next town. Stay motivated, stay positive, and just don't go home, because that's the last thing you want to do. Yeah, all of a sudden your knees start hurting when you haven't been on the trail for 2 or 3 days. It's like, man, this bed's comfortable. Just keep moving north, and you'll be better off, guaranteed.